Hello guys, welcome to another edition of His World where we discuss about football and other related topic. Indeed, in today's edition, we'll be discussing about the Premier League match preview. Game 2 is actually upon us, of which one of the game, the first game will be played today between Nottingham Forest versus Sheffield United. Now, in today's video, we're going to talk about every of the possible games that is going to be played in the course of this weekend, game 2, and probably possible match prediction. I'm not too good in match prediction, but I will give you my honest opinion with respect to every of these game that will be played today. Before we talk about the game, I want you to actually like the video, share, and subscribe. Also, click the bell notification so that you can be notified when we post that video. And your subscription is actually very, very important to us. That's the only way you can use to encourage me in this hard work I'm putting up with respect to giving you every latest that regarding football. Indeed, congratulations to Chelsea. They've been able to complete the signing of Lavia. Indeed, it was unveiled today, yesterday night / today, and kudos to them. Also, kudos to Crystal Palace for them being able to hold on to Michael Olise. At least they didn't let him go, because that will only weaken them more. Well, let's quickly turn down to the game between Nottingham Forest versus Sheffield United. Now, Sheffield United just gained promotion from the Championship into the Premier League, and Nottingham Forest, we saw how they were struggling in the Premier League last season until towards the tail end of the season. They were able to pick up some good vital points, and that helped them to finish there close to the middle part of the table. And kudos to them. And in this game between Nottingham Forest against Sheffield United, I see it as it's actually going to be a bit even match between both teams, and both teams will try to see how they can be able to pick points early in the game so as to avoid the battle of relegation. And if I'm going to give my match prediction with respect to Nottingham Forest versus Sheffield United, I'm going to say that the match will end Nottingham Forest 1, Sheffield United 1. That's actually my prediction. I think that both of them will bring enough into the game to see how they can be able to cancel each other from the game and share the points. I don't see any of them picking the 3 points in the course of this game, but we'll see at the end of the game, whereby we'll do a total review of all the game to see how many of them I was able to get correctly. And I also need your prediction as well at the end in the comment section. Now, let's talk about Fulham versus Brentford. Now, these are two teams which exceeds people's expectation last season. And if we want to look at what both teams have been able to do in the course of the transfer window, I think that they've been able to do, especially Fulham, who picked up later on, they've been able to do some key signings. And in the course of this game, I think that Brentford is actually going to edge Fulham a little bit. I know Fulham picked up the 3 points in their last game, but against West Ham, but I see that in the course of this game that Brentford is going to come with a little bit much that Fulham cannot be able to handle, and I see the game going Fulham 1, Brentford 2. I see Brentford picking the 3 points in the course of this game. Now let's talk about Liverpool versus Bournemouth. Now, Liverpool is one thing that with respect to their manager Jurgen Klopp, I think this man is obsessed that he was unable to qualify for Champions League last season, and I think and I believe as well that he will want to rectify that in the course of this season. So let's see how they will do. Last week they were not able to have a nice game against Chelsea, but kudos to them that they went to Stamford Bridge and pick up a vital point. But in the course of this game, I think that Liverpool will be too much for Bournemouth to handle. So in this game, I'll be going for Liverpool 2, Bournemouth 0. That's my prediction. Now let's talk about Wolves versus Brighton. Is the next game we'll be talking about. Now, Wolves has one issue with their team. This team knows how to create chances, but they don't know how to finish it. It's just more or less like somebody that knows how to cook a delicious meal, but when it's not time to eat the food, they will tell you that, because I'm the one that cooked this meal, I've lost appetite to eat the meal. And that's the problem I see in Wolves. And I think that is going to affect them really, really much in the course of this season if they don't address that. And in the course of this game, I know Brighton, they are free-flowing teams that loves playing quick counter-attack, and I think that they will actually cash up on the Wolves in the course of this game. So I will be going for Wolves 1, Brighton 3. The next game we talked about is between Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester United. Now, Tottenham Hotspur, they are trying to rebuild their team after the departure of Harry Kane. And Manchester United, in their game against Wolves last week, they didn't actually perform much. And I think that Ten Hag will definitely hit hard on the boys so as not to repeat the same shambolic performance they did against Wolves. Because if they do that against Tottenham, definitely I see that it's going to be detrimental to them. So I think that in the course of this game, I don't see a winner from by both sides, analyzing both teams. So I'll be going for Tottenham Hotspur 1, Manchester United 1. The next game we will talk about is Manchester City versus Newcastle United. Now, when you talked about last weekend result, these are two teams that did fantastically well in the course of their first game of the season. Newcastle trashed Aston Villa 5-1, and Manchester City, in their usual form, they beat Bournemouth 3-0. So people want to say that this is actually a clash between the people who are in the top of the table for after game week 1. And I think that in this course of this game, there's going to be a lot of goals from both teams. Because yes, Manchester City, they are good, and Newcastle, they are also good in their attack. And I think that Newcastle have a lot of arsenal in their team to catch up on the Manchester City in their counter attack, considering the fact that in Man City, De Bruyne is not there. So I see that there's going to be a lot of goals. So my prediction for this game is Manchester City 3, Newcastle United 2. I think that Man City will have the little bit edge to go above Newcastle United in the course of this game, considering the fact that it will also still be played at the Etihad. So I'll be giving the Man City the slight edge to pick the 3 points in the course of this game. The next one we talked about is between Aston Villa and Everton. Now, these are two teams that want to correct the result they had last week, because in the course of the game 1, both teams lost in their opening game. But I think that in this game, Aston Villa will be picking the 3 points. So I'll be going for Aston Villa 2, Everton 1. Now, the next one we talked about is between West Ham United versus Chelsea. Now, this is a London derby between two London teams. And West Ham United have not been able to study their game to understand their era after the match week 1. But I think that from what Chelsea did last week, they showed some promising sign, even though that there's no creative midfielder in the person of number 10. But I think that Enzo Fernandez will step up, since they've brought in Caicedo and Lavia to do the defensive covering. So I'll be going for this one, West Ham United 1, Chelsea 3. Now, the next one we talked about is between Crystal Palace versus Arsenal, also a London derby. Now, Crystal Palace, kudos to them that they were able to tie down Michael Olise. But I think that Arsenal will have more than enough to be able to cash on their Crystal Palace. So in the course of this game, I'll be going Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 3. So these are my prediction in the forthcoming game that will be beginning today in the game week 2. I want your prediction as well with respect to your team and also other team. Let's see how each of them is going to perform. So at the end of the game, definitely I will come back to give every one of you the review to see how we did well in the course of our prediction, and also the review in the course of game week 2. Come on, let's go.